If this doesn't land on a siege stat, I'll need a transmutation crystal, and I don't have it. 3, 2, 1. I created a comprehensive list of pros and cons when it comes to running a siege march. And if you've been following the latest videos, you should know that I am investing on a siege march on my restart account. But the thing is, since at this moment I literally have nothing for siege commanders, I need to get very lucky to be able to reach what I'm planning, at least in the middle of the next KVK, whether it's commander sculptures, equipment, armaments. So basically stars should wait. Speaking of stars, that's actually perfect. For my fellow space enthusiasts, I have a very interesting game for you. And it's made by the creators of the famous MMORPG EVE Online. EVE Galaxy Conquest is an all-new 4X strategy game that takes you on a compelling sci-fi journey on your mobile device. And what makes this game special compared to similar games is the seasonal system. Each season brings new content to the game, such as new maps, new features, mechanics, ships, commanders, making your whole gaming experience unique and non-monotonous. And for players who find slow command and control type of mobile games a little bit boring, EVE Galaxy Conquest offers intense action as players and alliances do compete for global objectives each season. And of course, just like EVE Online, player interaction is a huge part of EVE Galaxy Conquest, whether it's diplomacy, subterfuge, espionage, or my favorite, betrayal. Download EVE Galaxy Conquest from the link in the description or pinned comment and start conquering the space with your allies. Now it's time to return to Earth. Right, so we're gonna first start with the pros and then we're gonna move on to cons, because even though cons are only a few, they are extremely crucial, and if you're planning to invest on a siege march, you have to fully understand those cons before you make your decision. And in the background there will be some range combat gameplay. That's some footage from Mr. Siege. I hope he doesn't mind. Of course, his channel link will be in the description, so if you're planning to invest on a siege march, definitely go check him out. Pro number one, this is not going to be in-game performance related, sculptures, armaments, commanders, whatever. It's going to be more like a psychological reason, unless you have 7 best marches in the game and with insane gear and armament. So if not everything you touch almost dies instantly, regular field fighting in Rise of Kingdoms can get a little bit boring and tedious, because most of the time people just hit for a few seconds and then retreat back, and then go back again, hit for a few seconds and then retreat back. It's just very rare that people go head to head for like minutes until all marches are dead. But of course the range combat, as you can see from the footage, is completely different. And the beauty of this is that it's going to be refreshing for you. At least for me, I know for a fact that it's going to be refreshing, because let's be honest, we Rise of Kingdoms players are crazy. Like, we play for 12 hours straight, 24 hours straight when we are in KV. Well, not me most of the time, but majority of the players fights in the open field for hours. And even though I think open field fighting is the best thing about Rise of Kingdoms, as I said, it can get a little bit tedious and sometimes monotonous, so you might get bored from it. However, when you switch to a siege march, since it's a completely different type of gameplay, it's going to be a breath of fresh air. So I think that is, even though it is not related to, the performance or anything, it is one of the major benefits of running a siege march. Number 2, as long as you position it well in the battlefield, it's going to give you the best returns, hands down. It's going to give you the best returns for your investment, whether you invest low, mid, or high. Because what happens when you position your siege tower well is that, imagine a scenario where you're playing with a regular march and an enemy is running away from you. You are hitting it, you are dealing your normal damage, you are firing off skills, and the only thing that they do is running away. And after they run away, or after you set face them, if you take a look at those reports, they are going to be incredible. Like, the percentage is going to be insane. Sometimes you get like 1000% reports, because they are not fighting back. They are not hitting you with their normal attacks. They are not hitting you with their active skills. The only damage they deal back is the counterattack damage. And when you position your siege tower well, that is what happens against every single march on the field, because with your pew pew normal range attack, you are dealing normal damage, and on top of that, you are also able to cast your active skills from a distance. So just like the previous scenario, the only damage they deal back to you is the counterattack damage, and that's why the reports of those siege marches are insane. Like, it is crazy. There is no march in the game. Who's the best march in the game when it comes to regular marches? Is it William Wallace Liu Che, Scipio Liu Che, Zhuge Liang, Herman? I don't know. But there's one thing that I know for a fact, that if you invest the same amount of sculptures and they have the same level of equipment and armaments, your siege march, as long as it's positioned well, is going to give you the best reports and the most amount of kill points in the game. Third benefit of running a siege march is, I think they are, again, the best march in the game when it comes to ruins and altar fights. Because what happens in those type of fights is that the ball is not moving a lot. People are usually fighting in the same spot. This means when you find a good spot to place your tower and when you position it well, you'll keep firing off your normal attacks, active skills for like minutes. Because we're gonna discuss it when it comes to cons. Siege units are very bad if the ball is constantly moving, so you need to get out from that tower mode. move, and then build your tower again. It sucks, okay? It sucks when it comes to times that the ball is just constantly moving to one side. But as I said, in ruins, in altars, the murder ball usually stays in the same place for a very long time. And the moment you position it well, you'll simply get insane amount of kill points. And for the next pro on the list, we need to go ahead and take a look at the blacksmith, take a look at the equipment. And if you don't know, the amount of stats that you get from siege equipment is insanely higher compared to the regular ones. For example, the maximum amount of stats that you get from pens is 12%. And if you go for a set piece, for example, it goes down even more, it's 11%. But if you take a look at the siege one, 14.5% siege unit health, plus 4% march speed. And on top of that, when you get special talents, you can increase this gap even more because special talents gives you extra stats with a certain percentage. And obviously, since 12 is lower than 14.5, if you increase both numbers with the same percentage, the return that you will get from your siege equipment is going to be higher simply because the raw number, the starting number is higher. So this gap stats between the siege equipment and the regular equipment, as I said, can go even higher. Just for reference, if you take a look at the gloves, for example, the high stats that you can get is 8% of stats. But if you take a look at this one, 10% defense plus again march speed. I think like Rise of Kingdoms creators said that let's just give them an equipment that is quote-unquote already special talented, and if you get special talent on top of that, it's going to be even more crazy. But even though yes, stats-wise siege equipment is really good, there is I think a big con about it that you need to keep in mind. There is no legendary siege equipment that you can get from your crystal keys, and also there are no legendaries that you can buy from the Season of Conquest KVK shop, so the only way to get them is through the events, and I think it sucks because you get access to siege commanders after KVK 3, which is quite a long time, and on top of that you will need even more time to get all the blueprints that you need. But overall, when you get the blueprints, when you craft these, and if you can get a special talent, they are going to be extremely good. There is one thing that I want to mention about equipment, and it kind of allows you to craft regular legendaries a little bit more. When you're in a good position with your siege tower, as I've already explained, the only damage you are taking back is the counterattack damage. And if we take a look at this epic accessory, the Lane's Amulet, the various troops takes 5% less counterattack damage of all types. This means for your siege march, most of the time, unless you get caught out of position, this is 5% all damage taken reduction, because the only damage that you're taking is counterattack damage. So I think you can go, like, you can keep using the Lane's Amulet for a very long time. And first, like, you can craft one legendary accessory, finish off your legendaries, and then as your final upgrade, you can go ahead and replace your Delane's Amulet with another legendary accessory. I think this is really good for siege units. Now let's discuss the cons a little bit. First, I'm gonna mention the minor ones, then we're gonna discuss the major one. The minor ones is that there is no siege unit civilization, like no civilization with siege unit stats or special siege units. So you'll probably either go with Germany for training speed, action point recovery, maybe France for hospital healing speed, and I'll probably stick to France for my account because I also have an infantry march. But yes, long story short, there is no specific siege civilization, and just like civilization, there is of course no siege unit legendary city skin. There is, I think, 1 or 2 epic city skins that gives like 5% siege stats, but other than those, there are no city skins available for siege units. Now, another con is going to be armaments. The reason why armaments is a con for siege units is because there is only one formation that you can use, and that formation is only good for one unit type. Because if I go on open 10, if for example I select wedge formation, I can use it for my cavalry, I can use it for my archers, or I can use it for my skill damage infantry march, or you can do it because I don't have any of them. However, for siege units, you have to select V formation, and any armaments you get that doesn't have siege stats are completely useless. Because let's go back to wedge again. Let's say I'm trying to upgrade the armaments of my Zhuge and Hermann march. So mainly I'm looking for archer stats. But if I get triple cavalry stats, for example, you can still use it on your, I don't know, like Nevsky John march. Or if you get a bunch of infantry stats, you can use it for your Scipio march. But for V formation, there is only one formation for siege units, and any armament that doesn't have siege stats for this formation is going to be, unfortunately, useless. You know what? Let me open 10 and demonstrate it. Go, V formation, boom. Okay, we got double inscription, I hope it's good. This one, for example, march speed infantry, infantry health. So if this was for wedge formation, for example, and if I was lacking armaments for my skill damage infantry march, I could have used it. But since it's a V formation, it's totally useless. I hope this one is good. Let's see. Evasive and armored. 2.5% counterattack. Okay, so this is just like Delane's Amulet. This is all damage taken reduction, and this is 3.5% defense. I think this is pretty good. You know what? Let's try to craft a decent armament for our siege march. Transmute. Boom. Nope. Come on, give me siege stats. 1.7. Definitely not worth locking. Okay, 3% attack is way better though. Let's lock it and transmute again. Nope. 3.5% siege unit hell. Let's go, baby. Replace. Lock this one. Do I even have the transmutation stones? I only have 3 tries left. Oh my god. No. No. No! I can't get it. It's the last try. And I only have 3. I need 2 more. Okay, you know what I can do? I can open these epic chests, recycle them, and maybe get enough for 2 more transmutation stones. Let's go, baby. I have 5 transmutation stones. There is the armament. Transmute. If this doesn't land on a siege stat, I'll need a transmutation crystal, and I don't have it. 3, 2, 1. Oh, let's go. We got it. It's only 2.5%, but oh my god, we did it on the last one. Let's go, baby. Okay, since we crafted a great armament for our siege march, we're not gonna discuss the rest of the cons. Okay, now here's the big con that you need to know about siege marches. They suck. They are so bad. They're the worst march in the game in a very specific scenario. 2 scenarios, actually. Number 1, if your alliance, your marchers are hanging around or needs to hang around the enemy cities, your siege march is going to get targeted instantly and you cannot retreat. You cannot run because you need to get rid of the tower mode, which is going to take you 8 seconds. So the times where you need to be around enemy cities, I think you shouldn't use a siege march. Simple as that. That's the first con. That's the big con. So that's why I do already have a regular march, and now I'm investing on a siege march for these specific scenarios. Number 2, I kind of already touched on that, and it is if the murder ball is moving constantly. If either side is able to overpower the other one and able to move the ball front or back, you will hate your siege march because every time the ball is moving, you will be out of range, you won't be able to attack. So what you need to do is, again, get rid of the tower mode, which is going to take 8 seconds. Then walk to a good spot, find a good spot to start firing off. Build your tower again, which is another 6 seconds. So I think 2 occasions that you will hate using a siege march is number 1, if you're hanging around enemy cities. And number 2 is if the ball is moving constantly. But other than that, like, these are major cons, okay? These are big cons that you need to keep in mind because if the siege unit is the only troop type that you have, you will struggle in these areas. But if you do have the versatility in your account, if you do have, 1, 2, maybe 3 regular marches, and in those scenarios, you'll be able to play with those marches instead of your siege march, then you are golden. You will have no issues. You just need to know and understand when to use your siege march and when to not to. And the best way to understand it is, I guess, just using it, playing with it, experiencing it, and seeing it yourself. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This was my pros and cons list for running a siege march. I see you on the next Rise of Kingdoms video. If you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe. Goodbye.